my last question. We have, throughout talked about ROIs. We have talked about, experimentation part and the budgetary part. So my last question is how to optimize these budgets when, we are gamifying a product and launching a campaign.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of aspects to it. I'm just trying to think through all of them. One of them, I think, is basically have a very, the first thing to start is have a very clearly defined metric.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of examples in the industry where we just say, open the app, your app opens is a metric that you want to drive,
Hmm.
saying that that's an engagement metric, right?
Yeah.
But does it really matter? Is it a better metric that you can drive than that particular metric, right?
Hmm.
So it's always important to have that essential North Star and
Hmm.
the list of metrics, and then the next level of metric that will actually impact the North Star, right?
True.
And sort of have a ranking between these metrics. Let's say you have a time spent plus number of days you actually frequency you make a purchase, right? Versus opening the app.
Hmm.
I would definitely rank the second metric more, right?
True.
So the best thing is to invest in some sort of a correlation analysis where you know how each metric affects the North Star. But even if you don't have that, at least have that basic understanding because it's not that complex to start with. And then basically think out these are the metrics I really want to drive. But that's the first step, right? When you think about ROI. So you're not spending on the wrong metrics,
Hmm.
in short, right? Second thing I would say is basically launching to the right segments is very important. Personally seen an example where I was launching a feature, I was showing it to all users, right? I had a decent impact, but when I tried to optimize the segmentation of those, right, the budget, so I had to reduce the budget because I wanted to do a lot more,
Hmm.
right? So in that case, I was able to bring the budget down by 60-70%, but have almost 90% of the same impact. That
Okay.
that is something I could only do when I went into to which are the segments which are
Hmm.
giving me the highest ROI,
Yeah. True.
right? The third thing I would say is sometimes the reward matters more than the amount. Let's say I'm giving you 100 rupees reward. Even if I give you 75 rupees, the user will be equally motivated.
Hmm. True.
So that is one level of experimentation you can do. You can just do this analysis where you see by decreasing the award or increasing the award amount,
Hmm.
the reward amount, what is the impact that is happening, right?
True. Yeah.
That is one strategy you can use to optimize your budgets, right? Uh, then the most important thing again is basically you will always have a limited budget.
Hmm.
Keep thinking about intrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
I know I'm just sounding like I'm talking in thin air, but this is when you're driving to the point, it's not easy to figure that out. Very
True.
few companies have been successful, right? So extrinsic rewards are a factor we will keep you running. But
Hmm.
if you're able to crack this, even if you spend like some part of your time figuring out the intrinsic rewards, and you're able to crack that, that can be game changing for a lot of
True.
cases, right?
True.
So I think these are the top strategies I would say. There could be other things also. You keep experimenting with different reward amounts, reward types. Uh, can you basically change the dispersal of reward? Let's say instead of giving 500 rupees worth of reward to 1,000 people, can you give the top 10 people
Well.
this the
Hmm.
same amount, a higher
Hmm.
reward? Would that motivate my lower segments also to play better, play more, because they are all aiming to that reward?
True.
So if you
Hmm.
start thinking about these optimizations, these questions, always keep thinking about what else can I do,
True.
right?
Yeah. True.
And then you will be able to basically figure out achieve at least a better ROI.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you have correctly nailed the question that I asked you because this is also one of the frequently asked questions during our client pitches and presentations. Because although people are they have interacted with gamification and gamification elements, but when it comes to implementation, even the organizations are figuring it out, right? Because they have figured it out how to run digital marketing campaigns, what are the ROI, but they have not benchmarked the gamification campaigns, and at times they tend to overspend it, and then it is too late to analyze it and then go back and change it. So if in the start itself, if they know which KPI to move or which metric to move initially, it will be better for them to devise the user journeys and drive the users for the aimed target.
Hmm.
So that's a really good way of putting it. And secondly, on the intrinsic motivations, I also wanted to check. So I have one thought about it. I just wanted to check, validate my thought process. When the rewards in terms of monetary benefits or cashbacks, they definitely work because for the user it is upfront reward, that okay, fine, if I buy something more I can get 10% off, 20% off, whatever it is. But when it comes to intrinsic motivation, does the quality of the entire product matters or not? I mean, if I am motivated to go to that particular app again and again, either it can be a cheap cost if it's an e-commerce app, either the USP is that okay, I can find anything at a very, very low cost. So I'm going back again and again. So that can be, I mean, my whole point is if the core product is good, does the intrinsic motivation works better, or the core product is not at all related to intrinsic motivation?
I think there's a very, very high level of correlation to that, right?
Okay.
The better the product, the more the user will like the product,
Yeah.
right? And the more the user like the product, the more they will talk about the product.
Yeah.
Talking is just one aspect, right? The more they'll be happier with the reward because first they're also engaged with the product. They all also have this respect for the product
Yeah.
that they use. At the same time, they're getting the reward that they desire from the product.
True.
So
True.
if you achieve this balance, it is the stickiness becomes a lot more stronger. Your retention becomes a lot more stronger
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah, I mean, this was my thought process since last few months that because we have kind of achieved the MVP 2.0. Now we are building on top of that as well. So intrinsic motivation and what can be the nudges that we can, do inside the application. So that the without rewards also people come back again and, make a purchase or interact with the application more. So this was one of my hypotheses, and this I always validate with the fellow PMs, in the same space that okay, if what my thinking is correct or not. So thank you for answering that. So guys, with
I think
this,
there is,
yeah,
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 yeah.
please.
There's one thing I would like to add, which I just thought about was basically when we talk about spending on rewards,
Hmm.
a lot of organizations don't want to spend on rewards because we are spending on customer acquisition, but we are not spending on customer retention in terms of rewards, right? Now, how it essentially works here, most companies we are spending on customer retention
Hmm.
by running the targeting campaigns, by doing a lot, right? But when we talk about gamification or separate rewards, we tend to look at a separate thing, right? I
Hmm.
always advise people to consider your budget for this particular gamification reward as part of your customer retention costs, right?
True.
And keep benchmarking and measure it with your customer retention costs. And if you see you're getting a higher ROI than the standard customer retention mechanism, then probably you can use some of these mixes into your product, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very good point, like you mentioned, this gamification, because this is again one of the questions that we generally get when we talk to product managers or marketing team. They tend to figure out budget kahan se aayega iska? I mean, from where we will get the money. So this is an apt answer for it, right? Because they might be running targeted campaigns to their engaged users. So this can be part of their retention program as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much
So a
for
lot of things, yeah,
this.
I love doing here is basically instead of first before building this within your product,
Hmm.
use the game mechanics and do marketing campaigns within mechanics. You
Thanks.
can do like a spin the wheel on an email,
True.
right?
Yeah.
Or you can do it on a web page, put it as a web view in
Yeah.
your app,
Yeah.
figure something out, right? It enables you to experiment a lot faster without using any code,
Yeah. True.
right? And then you can also optimize your marketing campaigns by doing this.
True. True. Very true. I mean,
So a
we
lot of things to think about, a lot of things can be
yeah,
done. It's
because
just a matter
this
of how much we think.
yeah, so this is one of the kind of a pre-built use case that we do in Gamize. We have integrations for different channels. So directly the campaigns can be launched in WhatsApp, SMS, emails, and with our web SDK you can put it on web pages also. So that's totally
I think that's definitely useful. Like
yeah,
if you
that's
really want to
useful.
quickly
True.
experiment and figure out what works.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Anything that you, apart from these questions, if you have anything else to share with us?
Oh, I think that should be all. I think I've covered a lot of ground already. And always remember that it's just a starting point.
Yeah,
There are a
to
lot of frameworks out there.
out there
But
too.
once you have this, once you're able to drive this alignment within your organization on
Hmm.
what is the importance of this, and you're able to change your thought process to think about user psychology first, then just giving out rewards,
So,
right? Then you should look at the different frameworks because
hmm.
a lot of frameworks will help you understand what are the core drives, what are the emotions that a user will feel, right?
So,
You'll find a lot of definitions, but the
yeah,
first
yeah.
thing is to understand, take a step back, think about how to approach,
How to
and
approach
then go
and
into those frameworks.
yeah, will it work for my users or not? I mean, different frameworks might be for different kind of user segments.